in the pits. It looks like they're going 4 wide to 5 wide, but they're side by side. Connor is sideways, absolutely sideways in the last few corners. Oh, but he's up in the gravel and he spins. Rob has made a bit of a dive. It actually hits teammate Craig, and so they've all got stuck in the gravel. And Joe gets the switch back. That's fantastic racing. Look at that. Contact, but it's Robbins Racing. Joe McCall takes his first ever win just ahead of Connor. A fantastic race. He's going to take 6th, or is it? Oh, he just gets him. And is Darren going to take it? No, he doesn't. Mark Nichol takes the race. Josh is the Independence champion for Season 3. Craig Kellett is your Season 3 winner and champion. Okay, let's look at the grid then for race 2. Craig Kellett is on the front row in his Ford Mazda for Elite Racing, next to Garry Black in the MCR Storm VW Scirocco. Row 2 is Rob Pillett in the second of the Elite Racing Ford Mustangs, next to Harry Cook in the first of the Team Redeem Mazda Atenzas. Row 3 is Joe Burrows in the HP Motorsports Hyundai Genesis, next to Kieran Thomas in the KTTC Racing Renault Megane. Row 4 is the other KTTC Racing Renault Megane of Tom Foster, and Mike Kuipers in the VW Scirocco for K&N Fox Racing. Another back row of the grid on his own is Darren Parker for Team Redeem in the Mazda Atenza after he DNF'd in race 1. Okay then, race 2, and Craig Kellett is on pole position with Garry Black next to him. Away they go, and it's a good start for Craig, and of course Garry struggles to get that Scirocco away from the line. So the two Elite Racing Ford Mustangs have got away into the lead of this race. Joe Burrows again gets a great start and up to 3rd. Let's go on board with Garry then, as he fights with Harry Cook, who gets a good start. And the sheer difference in weather for this race, a nice dry sunny afternoon. Oh, contact there, Harry and Garry getting together, and as you did see, Garry showing a fair bit of lag there, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. But that small little incident there between those two has slowed them down and has allowed the KTTC Renault Megane of Kieran to catch up with everyone else behind them. Oh, contact there again with Garry and Harry. They're getting together, so it's a little bit messy here. Darren is already picking up the pieces and getting through the pack early on. Look at this, it's all hustle and bustle. Everyone's getting together and they're struggling to find space on the circuit. Darren now on the inside of Kieran, and that's Harry who's struggling. It was unusual from Harry there, and that's allowed Mike as well to get up on the side there, so it is really kind of kicking off almost here at the back of the pack of this race. Oh, Mike, a little bit of a push on Kieran, and Tom is at the back holding on to the back of Darren to see if he can take advantage of it. Tom there has got a bit of a run up on Darren then, and is down the side of him. Darren is going to struggle to get past these cars to get back up at the front, as already you can see how Craig has got ahead. So Craig is leading very, very comfortably, and even more to an advantage, as Rob Pillett here is his teammate and he's running in second, so can act as rear gunner. If Rob was to hold this would be his best joint with his best ever result, and that's someone spun out. That's Joe Burrows. Joe has spun out. I don't know if there's contact there with Garry, but oh, he's struggling to get away. And that's Joe's race ruined, unfortunately. We'll have a look at the replay to find out what happened to Joe, but we don't know if there was contact there with Garry. Let's go on board with Joe Burrows then as he approaches the tight right-hander here. See where he spins out. Oh, there, it just catches him. Let's watch it from the car behind, which was Garry Black, and you'll see it in a second. It's just, yeah, it's Joe's exit. It just spins out. It's a really unfortunate incident. So Craig continues to lead this race with Rob in second, Garry in third, and of course Joe's dropped out to the back then. So Mike Kuipers is fighting with Kieran in fourth. Well, Mike looking a lot quicker here. Kieran is making it difficult for Mike to get past. A fast right-hander followed by a tight right-hander into the straight to the finish line here is quite renowned for people running wide. So they will look at it if people do start using it to their advantage. Stephen Heath was reprimanded for season 2, where he was taking advantage of the wide entry into the first corner. And Mike and Kieran are still going at it here. Mike has got Kieran down the side of him. And Mike gets the job done. So Mike is up to 4th, Kieran down to 5th, and Darren and Tom with Harry at the back there. So Harry is struggling as well. So I'm looking on the outside of Darren here. So slightly settled now. And there's Joe with a lot of work to do. And this is Rob Pellet, who is leading this race. So something's happened to Craig. Craig must have had an off. So we will look and see if we can find some evidence that Craig has made a mistake, because he's lost the lead of the race somehow. And so that means Rob Pellet is leading the race. Let's watch Craig then, as he was comfortably leading ahead of his teammate Rob. And I think it's this tight right-hander again. He puts too much power and he spins out nearly. Oh, he's lucky not to completely spin it and loses 2 places. This is a big opportunity for Rob. He runs slightly wide. Let's go on board with Garry then. Rob, who is renowned for leading the race and being really quick in the Renault Megane series. Oh, a slight corner cut there from Garry, maybe pushing the limits a bit too much. But he's got to run on the outside of Rob here, so they are side by side as they go into that tight right-hander. Garry Black gets the lead away from Rob, and no, Rob has spun it. Rob makes a mistake and he will be devastated with that. He gets going and he's now down to 8th position. So as for a split second there, Rob was leading and was having the time of his life, but under the pressure from Garry, he lost the lead and then unfortunately spun out. So Craig is back up to 2nd. This puts Mike into 3rd, so Kieran and Mike are fighting for the podium position now. And Mike could potentially get up to Craig here. Darren has made some good progress and is now could fight Kieran with Tom behind him, and Harry, who is I have to say struggling here at Red Bull. He's not having too much fun. Rob recovering from his spin, and Joe also recovering from his spin, but Joe is quite far behind. He can get some good points here for 9th, but not fun for Joe. So Garry Black, wow, that's a corner cut. That was huge corner cut. That needs to be looked at. So Garry is really using all the grass there. We will keep an eye on Garry to see if he does that again. On board with Mike, as we just see actually Darren looks like he's got past Kieran now. But we're just looking on the fact that Mike is on the back of Craig, so Mike Kuipers could go into second here. Craig is struggling on those tyres. And Mike gets the job done, so Mike Kuipers up to second, Craig down to third, Darren in fourth. So Kieran has got back up from Tom here in fifth and sixth, so they can put the fight on for Darren. And of course don't forget that KTTC are just behind Team Redeem by a fair few points, but it's still fighting on for the team's title towards the end of the season. So Kieran looks like he could make a dive here. He's gone up on the inside of Darren, and he holds back, so he slots back in position. Tom also right on the back of Kieran, so could Tom swap with Kieran in the next corner? Or they're going to work well together. Oh, Kieran gets a touch on Darren, so that might slow him down. Tom stays behind, so Harry and Rob having a little bit of a battle here. Still a bit of a gap between the two, but just thinking about Rob and that mistake that he made, and just the luck never goes Rob's way. But still early days, and Rob still could take that first ever win. So Gary's still leading, but Mike could potentially catch up here, and it'll be a battle of the VW Scirocco's, showing their strengths in the dry here at Red Bull. That's Darren going slightly wide, and then the two KTTCs still pushing the back of Darren, putting him under pressure. Oh, that looked like Harry went wide. No, he's holding on, so continues, that's fine. So yeah, so the gap is dropping here between Garry and Mike. Oh, Gary's sideways, and that's yeah, I think Garry, a really aggressive entry into the first corner there for the last few laps, and the stewards may look at his way of getting round that corner. And look at Mike, he is so much better, sorry, on the brakes than Garry is, and he is just literally stuck to the back of him now after that tight right-hander, which Mike just broke right at the last minute. So the same car, but different livery, completely different teams here racing against each other. And Craig isn't too far behind, so he could take an opportunity to get past him if the two battle it out and make mistakes and get in each other's way. So Mike Kuiper still leads then, but Gary's still got to put the pressure on him. Let's go on board with Garry. Some good racing going on here between the two. Garry runs really wide, and that's going to potentially come. Oh no, there's some more lag there, so that's interesting to see. And Craig could catch up here. Darren's still holding off the two KTTCs, and so this race has settled down. So let's go on board with Kieran, who's on the back of Darren here, as we watch the top three there are going around that corner. Kieran is making Darren watch in his rear view mirror, and he's actually got a good overlap here. He's on the outside, so he's on the wrong side, but can he make the move stick? And can he get the switch over for the next corner? So Kieran is ahead, but he's thinking about how he's going to take the next corner. Runs really wide, and there's Tom there as well, so Tom's going to go potentially in between. No, he holds off and he holds back behind Darren, so Kieran's got ahead of Darren. Darren now struggling to hold off the two K-Techs, and Tom has got to the side of Darren and goes ahead of him. So the two K-Techs are ahead of Darren, but Darren doesn't have any of it, and he just makes a small dive there on the inside of Tom, but the two give each other space. Tom in the gravel, just holds off, so Darren goes back in the middle. Kieran running really wide there, really deep. So still some good racing here. It's fair, and they're giving each other space. It's great to watch. Darren looks like he's got an opportunity here to get past Kieran and take back that 4th position, and all the points that Darren has, he really needs them. Kieran runs really wide, Tom runs really wide. Darren's got the better exit. And still it's a Mazda sandwiched in between two Renaults. Tom has got an overlap on the inside. Does he hold it off? Just about. So it looks like Tom's got a good exit as well. So Tom's actually looks like he's going to go and fight for 4th position against Kieran. If the two continue to fight and not work together, they could push each other off and allow Darren to get past. So hopefully they're not planning to do silly things here. Kieran runs really wide, so Kieran's now under threat from Darren. Great racing. In the back there we just saw Harry Cook and Rob Pellet getting nearly close, really close there together. So Garry just gets past Mike, so Garry is in the lead of the race again then. So this race is still raging on between the two Scirocco's. Even in the dry, it's proving to be a really exciting race here in a sunny Red Bull. So can Mike get that lead back again? And that lag still showing for Garry. Yep, so here comes Mike. He's got a good exit over onto lap 10. Into the first corner. Craig is still just on the back of these, but not quite there to put the fight on. The two K-Techs again side by side of Kieran and Tom. And Tom goes down the inside of Kieran, and it looks like he's got the job done, and he does. So Tom takes 4th, Kieran is in 5th. Darren behind the two. Look, he's got the front row seats to watch the two battle it out. If anything, Darren will want the two to just get the job done and move on to see if they can catch up with the leading pack. Let's watch to see if they go into the next corner. Still fighting. Yeah, it looks like they are. Tom's going on the inside of Kieran again. Oh, a little bit of contact. Let's see how this is going on with Rob and Harry fighting for 7th. Somehow these two have been locked into another race together. Oh, no, a bit of a mistake there from Garry. So the lead now is a 3-car fight. Craig has worked hard and has allowed himself to get on the back of Mike. So Mike is now watching behind him under pressure from Craig, as well as try to fight for the lead of Garry. And that is Mike, who's struggling to get away in the exit of this corner. Of course, the rear wheel drive pull of Craig will have the advantage around the tight corners. Craig is not silly though. I don't think he'll make a brash move. He will only make the move if he thinks he can make it. So Craig is still up for a potential second or even a win here if he plays his cards right. So back to the KTTC then, and Darren's just got ahead of Tom again, so Tom is yo-yoing up and down with Darren and Kieran. On board with Tom. Down to the last few laps here. So the lead is potentially changing hands again into the hands of Mike Kuipers. So Mike gets the lead. Garry still in second. Craig is still holding on for dear life in third. They just can't quite keep up with those two Scirocco's to put in a move. There he is, look again, Craig is there. Could he take the lead of this race? He's actually going to go past Garry here for second. Craig Kellett could take second back, but no, look at the speed of those Scirocco's. It's just going to say not quite for Craig. He's still fighting really hard. It's great racing. Top three here, could be any one of them for the win as they come round the last few corners of the penultimate lap. Oh, and that's a mistake from Mike. Mike got into the gravel, so Mike is down to third. Gary's in the lead then, and Craig and Mike are now battling out for second and third. Craig again holding on for dear life in between a Scirocco sandwich. On to the final lap then. Let's keep an eye on Darren with the two KTTCs, and Darren's back ahead of both KTTCs now. The two of them squabbled, so Darren has just taken advantage and got ahead, but can he hold his position here? He's actually under threat from Kieran yet again into the first corner. Kieran goes in and gets the job done, but Darren, oh, it looks like he was going to go try and make a move, but it's allowed Tom to get back past again, so the KTTCs rule again against Darren. Back up at the front. Oh, Mike goes really wide. Garry gets the tighter one, and Craig on the outside. This is fantastic stuff to watch. Garry still leads then. Mike is going to push on again for the lead of the race. Oh, Mike is doing some rally crosses on the grass. Craig and Mike getting together as they come round the corner. Mike nearly on the gravel. So as we come round the last few corners here, Garry is leading. It looks like Garry could get the win here, unless anything dramatic can happen. I think they're going to hold positions. Mike going on the outside of Craig, but ultimately the win has been taken by Garry Black in the VW Scirocco. Second is Craig, just about. Mike nearly got him there. Kieran Thomas is going to take fourth in the end, just ahead of Tom in fifth. So Darren doesn't get past the two KTTCs in the end. Harry gets seventh. Rob Pellet fell behind in the end, so he must have made a mistake. But Rob gets eighth. And Joe Burrows, a very, very quiet race after his early spin. But points for ninth as he comes across a nice dramatic finish. Ninth for Joe Burrows. Garry Black gets the win then, ahead of Craig Kellett, who is just ahead of Mike Kuipers in the last podium position. Kieran and Tom Foster 4th and 5th for KTTC Racing, with Darren in 6th, Harry Cook in 7th, Rob in 8th, and Joe finishes at the back. Looking at the championship points then, as expected, Craig Kellett of the championship, 231 to 228 for Darren, 3 points in the difference there. Harry Cook stays in 3rd with 196, but only 3 points ahead of Tom in 4th, with Kieran in 5th with 188. Garry Black is in 6th and goes ahead of Mike Comer with 187. Mike is 7th with Mike Kuiper's 8th, Rob Pellet in 9th, and Joe Burrows is in 10th. In the team standings, then Team Redeem still lead with 419, K-Tech on 378, MCR Storm 355, Elite on 342 with K&N on 238, 198 to HB Motorsports with 119 Snap-on. So it's stabilised within the teams series at the moment. Looking at the Rookie Cup points, Harry Cook is leading with 282. Garry Black is second, 246 with Robin 220. Mike Comer drops down to fourth with 215 as he isn't racing. Luke Knox, as I say, still on 76 points.